What's up, everybody? Welcome into a bonus edition of Wake Up War Champ presented by Zaxby's. No music, no intros needed. You know what's going on. Michael Langston's here to talk recruiting again, but this time he'll actually be able to be listened to and enjoyed. So, Michael, thanks for taking time out. This kind of is a true edition of Wake Up. It is the morning after all. Huge weekend again with SNL wrapping up. Maybe even some more good news to come. I think you'll let us know perhaps later on the program. But I guess ultimately you thought Florida State was going to probably wind up with about 3 commits this past weekend, and sure enough, that's exactly kind of what happened. What did you know that the rest of us didn't, Michael?
Well, I mean, there was several. I mean, you just mainly look at these recruitments. You look at a lot of these recruitments, and, I said it's either crap or get off the pot with Thomas Schrader. I knew they were going to push for him to get him on board. It's very important. A lot of his family was there, so getting him on board, they were going to push hard to get this thing done. Lloyd Willis, I kind of felt that one too, just because he was a guy that, offensive tackle, and as I said in my commit watch preview, if FSU likes him, I can see him jumping on board this weekend. So that one didn't really surprise me. And then Morvan, as I told people, he's a guy that's been trending towards FSU. He even told me that he actually was going to commit last time he visited a few weeks ago. So I think he just wanted to do it at this type of event. So those things are, that's why I had the 3 just going into it, just because I felt comfortable with those guys. Now, there were some guys that didn't show, like Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle, and Brandon Swinson that we also had on commit watch. So, but it was interesting just what they were able to do this week. But I thought 3 was a fair number just because the buzz on this one just felt a little bit different than probably the one last year. The one last year was a lot of excitement, but there wasn't a lot of buzz where, FSU's leading for this guy, or they could get a lot of commitments. It was more like, hey, this is fun. There's a lot of buzz and excitement, but it was a different buzz.
Yeah, for sure. And what does it, I guess, maybe kind of say about, I don't know, either the staff or just the message they're able to send out there that these 3 kids, they're all at positions of need. Schrader, 3-star offensive tackle. Willis, 3-star offensive tackle. Morvan Joseph, 3-star defensive lineman. I mean, these are all positions of need. The fact that Florida State was able to find these guys or target them and then actually get their services, does this kind of show that the staff's message is starting to resonate and the whole, don't commit until you visit thing is starting to really work out for them?
Well, I've always thought that talked about this quite often, that the no visit rule is the best thing they've done. I mean, I think that's a very good thing to implement. They haven't had any decommitments. The class is close. You see a lot of these guys, they're close together. They're a brotherhood, as they tell each other. But I think the main thing, what helped them the most is they got guys that were realistic targets that they could pull, that they've been either on for a while or they were feeling pretty good about, or they have a chance to pull, like, Thomas Schrader, Lloyd Willis. I mean, these are guys that they've already offered. Morvan Joseph. There wasn't a Cardell Thomas in there who we knew it was going to be a hard pull for FSU to get him from LSU. Right. There wasn't a lot of reaches in there that were top prospects, but it was going to take some challenge to get him. I think they wanted, a lot of this list was Florida and Georgia kids, and I think they wanted to get guys that were really serious about FSU, not just, hey, I like them a lot and, I'm thinking about them, but I think they really did a great job of evaluating guys that truly are interested and invested in FSU and guys that can pull and not waste their time with all the elite guys. But if there's some elite guys that they want, but I think it was just they did a great job of measuring the major targets and getting them on campus and then executing their plan this weekend.
Michael Langston, recruiting analyst from WarChant.com, joining us here on Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's. A special edition of the program. Give us a wrap-up of the Saturday Night Live recruiting event that went down this past weekend in Tallahassee. Maybe a little bit of a sort of a scouting assessment on Schrader and Willis. Are these two guys? Are these more kind of like technician kind of offensive linemen, like good form, good fundamentals, things like that, or are these guys with mean streaks that just want to get after guys and put their hands on them?
Well, I think with Willis, he's farther. He's going to need further help as far as technique. He's somewhat raw, but this kid is so incredibly athletic, and he is just got some meat hooks like hands that once he gets a hold of you, his hands are so big, and he uses them really well. And you saw that in the SNL event when he got a hold of somebody, they're going down. Like, he is very strong, very athletic. His footwork is very good. He's just got to learn more, clean a lot of things up on the offensive line, like stance, hand placement, stuff like that Clements can help him with and fix. He's not going to be a guy the first year that would like go in there and start or anything, but he is a high-level guy as far as what he can be for you and being a top offensive tackle in the ACC, one of the best players. When you look at the ceiling of what his game is, and then I think with Thomas Schrader, they've been on him so long, and then I told people it's like you have to. What's impressive about what FSU did this weekend is all these guys are guys that they've been focused on for a little while and that they want. And Thomas has always been a guy that another guy that won't come in there the first year. Both of these guys are going to need a year underneath the system at FSU to be even before you think about talking about them making an impact. But very strong and plays. This kid plays with a very mean streak at offensive tackle, and that's exactly what the kind of guys they need. They knew they wanted. This is the guy they wanted. I would say out of all the guys that they were in recruiting offensive tackle, even some of the guys they missed, I think Thomas was the one that really, really wanted. I mean, they pushed for hard and put a lot of work in, and this kid plays in the mean streak, a very good finisher. Lunges a little bit too much, and he's even told me he's really got to sit back on his blocks better, and so he does that too often. But that's something he's got to work on. But I think Thomas will be more active where you see him early on at FSU and playing. But I think he's going to be a terrific offensive tackle for FSU, and I think both of them are great pickups.
Yeah. Come from good programs too, right? Obviously, Venice High School's been in the state title hunt and won championships, and Miami Killian always been a good power. On the defensive side of the ball with Morvin Joseph, I mean, I haven't been able to watch his tape. I kind of leave that to you. I mean, I do see the sort of the fact that he weighs 211 pounds, defensive end, but that's not going to be a problem. Obviously, he'll be able to put some weight on, but he's got some athleticism that will be able to find a home in Florida State's defensive line, right?
Yeah, he actually told me he's like 220 now.
Okay.
So his weight, he said his weight's weird where it goes a lot up and a lot down, and he's got a frame that doesn't seem to. Where he holds weight pretty well and very strong guy. His upper body, broad shoulders, strong, and very strong, very quick off the edge. And so, I mean, his size is actually what you want, 6'3", I think 2. I think he fluctuates from getting up to that 220 range to, down, maybe 220, 225, I would say. But I think I love this kid. I loved him when I watched him in the Lakeland camp. This kid, I didn't know that much about him, to be honest, before I went to Lakeland camp, because really FSU wasn't recruiting him. I hadn't heard a lot about FSU recruiting him, and he was a Florida commit. And then I was told by somebody at FSU, "Hey, check this kid out for us." It's like somebody from the FSU side told me, he's like, "Hey, give it a look. I think FSU likes this guy." And so, watched him. I was very impressed. Very quick. Uses a great technique. He likes to use the rib, likes to spin, but he's very in control with everything he does. He can go inside, he can go outside. I mean, he seems comfortable no matter which way he's going, and he was very dominant at the SNL event, as we've seen. So I think he's a guy that, I talked about they need really good pass rushers, and I think he can fit that that category, and I think he's a good one to have in the fold, and I think he's underrated. He's probably a Rivals 250 type of kid. At the end of the day, I think that'll be probably his ceiling, a Rivals 250. I think he'll be a 4-star prospect, but he's a good one. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a good one, and I think that was a major addition because they hadn't really got guys that are just really good pass rushers like this kid in Morgan, and they need some of those guys with. When you think about, you know, Janaris Robinson, you know, if he decides to go pro or Kando when he graduates, so it gets kind of thin up there, and so they need some guys. They need plenty of guys. So I think having him is big this weekend.
It's all about commits. You mentioned it, the way that fans, at least the fans, are going to judge an event like SNL is, how many commits do you get? They got 3. We've talked about them: Thomas Schrader, Lloyd Willis, and then obviously here with Morvin Joseph, a guy who at one time was committed to Florida. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Dan Mullen. But also the ability to maybe foster some more relationships and then eventually cash those in later on. 2 guys I think that are worth mentioning would be Isaiah Walker, another guy on the offensive line, and then Dejon Edwards from up the road in Moultrie, Georgia, from Colquitt County. How much ground do you think Florida State made up for both those guys, and how legitimate of targets are those 2 guys for the 2020 class?
Well, I think they did a really good job with Isaiah. I mean, he first visited Florida early in the week, and that was basically for an hour. And then, he came to FSU that same day, I think on Friday, I think around 6 or 7. They stayed all that time, and then he didn't leave till Sunday. So basically, FSU had him for like 2 days. Florida had him for like a couple hours, and then he did go swing back through Florida. But it kind of told you his interest level in Florida State, how much he likes it. I heard somebody close to him has told me, they feel it's going to be FSU or Miami. That's what they think it's going to come down to. So he likes Florida, but FSU and Miami are really the real major candidates here, and I think that's what's going to come down to. And I think a lot of that's going to be how these 2 teams do during this season. I mean, these are 2 teams that were average last year, in FSU's case, below average. So, I think he wants to see what these 2 teams do. That's why he's going to a lot of the games for FSU and Miami to see, kind of just how they fare. And I think both of them have South Florida prospects on their team, and I think the comfort with the culture, he feels fairly good with both of them. I think that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of with Isaiah is going to be, what he sees during the season. I think he's seen everything culture-wise he needs to see. And then who was the other guy you mentioned?
Dejon Edwards, running back out of Colquitt County.
All right. Dejon Edwards had a really, solid SNL. He's a guy that told us clearly FSU's at the top for him. I think possibly a commitment before the season starts would not shock me, and I think that team would probably be FSU. At this point, he didn't seem. I talked to a lot of kids, and when kids are interested in other teams, and it was clear that FSU was the team that was the focus of him. And I think a big part of that too is his closest friend is Carter Boatwright, who's the tight end. He's committed to FSU. He also is from Colquitt, who was superb, by the way, very good. But the 2 are so close. Dejon's known him since elementary school. So they've pretty much known each other their whole lives. So I think when Carter committed, that really opened the door and made it easy for Dejon. Then Dejon visited a few times, probably like 2 or 3 times, and I think he's really liked it. So I think FSU sits in the catbird seat there with Dejon Edwards, and the running back board is getting very interesting because it seems all of a sudden a lot of running backs are all wanting in.
Yeah, that also includes Jalen Knighton's also part of that sort of mix now, it seems like. And, I mentioned it when we recorded yesterday, but didn't make air because I didn't know how to record it properly. But, I know some people earlier in the season or earlier in the summer had good vibes and wanted like Lawrence Toafili. But, me as a kid who's from Pinellas County, I can tell you if I had the choice between a kid from Pinellas County or a running back from Colquitt County, probably taking the kid from Colquitt County 9 out of 10 times. So even these sort of, it's obviously the roller coaster of recruiting. When things seem bad in June, it's like, hey, just chill. There's plenty of time to get this all figured out. So they could be well positioned at running back with Dejon Edwards if that works out. Jalen Knighton's also back in the mix. It sounds like the fact he was able to get on campus. And I guess just kind of last thing before you go here, Michael, is that the dead period is soon approaching. Is there a chance that Florida State might not be done hauling in some commits before that dead period rolls in?
Well, you know what? You had a great segue there, Aslan. You laid up the volleyball at the net, and I'm gonna spike at home.
Do it.
Yeah, Jalen Knighton decides Tuesday. I'm feeling pretty good unless some crazy thing happens that FSU has changed the momentum again. It looks good there that they make that happen. And then Keziah Holmes also visited, but I think he sticks with Penn State. I didn't see anything yesterday that really just alarmed me that said, hey, FSU's turned the momentum there. I think he goes to Penn State. And then I just learned as we're doing this new recording, which is pretty cool, that this week, Lawrence Toafili from Ellis Park is going to visit FSU on Tuesday, right before the dead period.
Look at that. So, sorry, Lawrence. I think you're really great, Lawrence. You can come to Florida State if you'd like, Lawrence. No offense meant, Lawrence.
Aslan loves you again. He's going to be back on campus, and Aslan, the feeling I got on that is he's probably getting a little nervous, as far as all these running backs, because they want 3 in this class. But and then you had Michael Drenning also visit. He's a 4-star athlete, running back, kind of like Keziah Holmes type. He visited yesterday on Sunday. So there's a lot of guys in there. I think FSU, if there's 2 more that they're waiting on. I think people that have been on the boards, they know exactly who those 2 are. I've kind of hinted at one of them, but I don't think they're done yet. But that's kind of the most recent development I got as far as the running backs with Lawrence Toafili expected to visit on Tuesday.
Folks, Michael just, talked about a half dozen recruits, maybe close to 10. If you go on the premium recruiting board, there are updates on probably over 30 prospects who attended SNL and other prospects who are heavily in the mix for Florida State. It's all over on the premium recruiting board on warchant.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT30 for 30 free days of access to the Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, which also includes access to Michael Langston's insight when it comes to recruiting. That's all we got for you, Michael. I mean, we could keep you on here for another hour, but we got to tease to the website. So everybody go check out the website. Michael, thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Enjoy vacation. Hopefully it's coming up soon for you.
Yeah, it'll be Wednesday, and then I'm going to leave it up to you guys to just kill it with this team covers football practice. Aslan, football.
It's here.
Yeah, football's going to be here, and so appreciate. And I said this last night. I don't know if it went through, but thanks to all the War Chant team, Aslan, Ira, Chappelle, except for Corey. He didn't really do anything. He never called me. But Gene did a lot of stuff. But just the entire team, everyone did a great job and, helped me with this coverage because I can't do this alone. So thanks, Aslan and everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, folks. And if you like Michael Langston and hanging out and talking shop with Michael Langston, come check him out in Jacksonville on August 30th. He'll be there with myself, Gene, Ira, Corey, the entire War Chant team. We'll be at Surfer the Bar at Jacksonville Beach Friday night before the Boise State game. Go to Seminoles.com/kickoff 2019, Seminoles.com/kickoff 2019 to get your tickets to the Jacksonville Seminole Club and the FSU Alumni Association official kickoff party for the 2019 season. We'll be there. Show up, hang out with us. For Michael, Corey, I guess, as well, I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening. We'll have a great one, everybody.